I was hanging out at the pool yesterday with some friends, and I had it's probably the 10th time since we started the show where a friend has asked me a question, and I'm like, that's a great topic on the show. So shout out to Dillon. Dillon asked me on Sunday. He goes, all right, Mike, which rookie class do you think will have the most individual success? Not team success, but individual success based on these Cleveland rookie classes. The Browns 2025 draft class, which had Quinshon Judkins, Carson Schlesinger, Harold Fandon, a lot of the guys we just talked about. The Browns 2026 draft class, which hasn't played a single snap of meaningful football yet, but received A or A+ grades across the board with Fano, Boston, Concepcion, all those guys. And here's a twist. But the Guardians 2026 rookie class with Bazzana, with Chase DeLauder, Parker Messick, Kahlil Watson, Daniel Espino, Cooper Ingle. Some of the guys have played much more than others, but these are all guys who are qualified as rookies in this Guardians 2026 class. So, Jay, when you look at those three options, the Browns 2025 class, the Browns 2026 class, or the Guardians 2026 class, which rookie class do you think, when it's all said and done, will have the most individual success?
To me, this is a question of performance versus potential. And only one of those classes has performed, and that's the Browns 25 rookie class. We had said throughout the draft process last year, and then particularly throughout the season, that this could be one of the most impactful draft classes in Browns history. And I still stand by that. Like, that, it's loaded with talent, and some of which has already scratched the dust off the lottery ticket. Say what you will about the quarterbacks. I don't think either one of them are the long-term fix. The fact that this class might be remembered for missing on 2 quarterbacks, and it may still be the best draft class in franchise history, tells you 2 things. 1, this is a really good class. 2, the Browns have sucked at drafting long-term, which I think is probably part of the problem. So I love this Guardians 26 class. I love it. I think it's loaded with guys that some of them have already made a difference, but such a small sample size. In baseball, I've got to see more than I've seen from Kahlil Watson and Cooper Ingle and Daniel Espino, who have been here for a minute.
Yeah. Well, I think the thing with the 25 rookie class for the Browns is it could be both magnificent and maddening because you already know one of the quarterbacks can't play.
Right.
I'm not sure on the other one. They didn't draft a wide receiver. They didn't draft an offensive lineman. They took a second running back when they could have taken those guys there. So, and could they have taken Tedoroa McMillan over Mason Graham? You can nitpick all of these things.
Yeah.
The first 4 guys are really good NFL players. I think on their way to being really good NFL players, I think Schlesinger and Fandon have superstar potential, and I think Judkins could be the number 1 running back on a good offense across the league and might be the number 1 running back on a good offense here 2 or 3 years from now if they get the other things.
Sure.
Right. So all 4 of those guys can play. Shedeur has a chance. Dillon Sampson might or might not have a role in this team, in this league going forward. I don't know. He feels like a dime a dozen small running back.
Yeah.
But they like him. I mean, they knew what Judkins was. They knew where they were headed at the position, and they took Dillon Sampson. They have belief in him, and he's only 1 year into his career.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I have to agree with you guys. I like the top of the Guardians class this year. The last 3 or 4 names I think are, to be determined, but obviously Bazzana and DeLauder at the top. We may still get Ralphie Velasquez.
And I think it's going to be the best of the bunch.
He very well could be. And if that happens, that could tilt this class dramatically. But for now, he hadn't even debuted yet. You can't really count him. So I'll go with the Browns as well, just because, again, the names at the top, I think, are doing a lot of the heavy lifting on that class.
Do you get the sense Ralphie's next in the pipeline? I for some reason, I feel like they're slow walking him, and they're going to be a little more careful with him.
They've been trying him in left field. I think Ingle was ahead of him on that. He's another left-handed hitting first baseman. You've already got one of those in Manzardo. If Reese Hoskins, he's been up and down. There was some points where I thought he was close to maybe getting DFA'd, and obviously had the big hit yesterday. And, if they keep Hoskins, I don't know where Velasquez fits.
Right.
Unless they really get desperate for a left field. They want to look at him in left field. So I think that I know they're really high on him. I think there's a chance he debuts before the end of the season, but I just don't know that he's a piece you can count on right now.
You look at the 2026 Browns class, it's tantalizing. I'm with you, Jay. I'm not going to crown anybody, especially in the NFL, until I see it and see it consistently.
It's there. The potential's there.
Look, there's a lot to like about Fano. He hasn't played left tackle in 2 years. He's going to be out there as a 21-year-old left tackle on a bad offense. Like, it's going to be tough.
That
right?
could be disastrous.
Concepcion is lightning. But guess what? He's tiny and he doesn't always catch the ball. Like,
Yeah.
I have concerns. And so Boston was great. McNeil-Warren looks the part, and teams definitely considered him much earlier. The Browns would have taken him if Denzel Boston had gone at pick 37, which they worried about. They had the card ready for McNeil-Warren. They ended up getting him 19 picks later. So Austin Barber is a maybe. He's going to get a chance this summer, both at right tackle and at right guard, potentially at left tackle if they need him. There's a 5th-round center who's going to get a chance to play. I think that says more about the rest of the group than it says about him.
Yeah.
But it's a guy they liked. So it's an interesting class. It's potentially a good class. I need to see them play. But when I say the Browns over the last 15 or so months have done a good job of cleaning up their own mess, it certainly starts with Mason Graham, solid player. Quinshon Judkins, at least solid player. And Schlesinger and Fano, 2 guys to me who have superstar potential.
Then you can use a backhoe instead of a shovel to dig out of that hole if you put success, 2 or 3 in a row. Even.
Yeah.
Harold Fano does not even turn 22 until the week before training camp.
That's
starts.
amazing.
Crazy.
Was playing against Arkansas State in Akron 18 months ago.
That's incredible. It really is. The one thing that I would say about the Browns draft class where I'm giving them just a little bit of the benefit of the doubt is because they did it in 25. I've seen it.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen them draft a collection of players that we all liked, and then they came onto the grass and they made a real impact. They started games. They made a difference. Even the 2 quarterbacks who I mentioned, we don't know what the path is for either of them to be our long-term starter. They still, because there was nobody else, but they started games in the NFL. So they get a little bit of the benefit of the doubt with me on that. But if you go around, I mentioned this on the rankings, if you go around to the 32 NFL teams and say, hey, what do you think? Right now, before we've seen anything, a little bit of training camp, but OTAs, right now they're all going to say, we love our group. We think that this group can take us to higher places than we are right now. They all say that.
Yeah.
And we've said that for years about all of our draft classes, and they haven't worked out that way.
Yeah, and I said the one nitpick you have with Mason Graham is like, could you have picked offense? Did you need to pick offense?
Right.
But they looked at this guy and they said foundational player. We're going to make this move. We're going to trade down. We're going to get some extra picks. We're going to put this guy here, and we know he's going to be a solid player. He's going to be a productive player.
Mm-hmm.
If we change schemes, if we change the people around him, we know this guy, maybe a couple Pro Bowls, maybe not Hall of Fame, but he's going to be a really good player.
Did his body look any different at OTAs?
He hasn't been out there much.
Yeah.
That's a great question.
Yeah, because I'm looking for him to make a big jump physically.
Yeah, he had a little bit of a minor foot injury, and it's just like same with Fannin. You're counting on these guys for mega snaps in October. We don't need to see them in May.
Yeah.
But that is a big thing with him. He did not look like most top 10 defensive, because those are just like robots.
Sure.
Right? Made in the factory. He doesn't look like that, but he plays.
But oftentimes you see guys that have that, I don't want to say underdeveloped body, but they don't have their fully mature man body yet.
Yeah.
And as you progress through your NFL career, you get that.
Mm-hmm.
And if he can keep the athleticism and the footwork and all of that, and then get a little bit more sturdy frame and look the part a little bit more, you could be seeing a guy that is one day a perennial All-Pro or Pro Bowl player. That's right. And that's why they thought he could be that. That's why they took him where they took him. Mike, I do think the positive of this question is we're comparing 3 of the most recent Cleveland. I know that this isn't a draft class for the Guardians, but it is their 2026 class.
It's a rookie class.
It's a rookie class. Yeah, it's definitely not a draft class. You're not going to get all that talent in one draft class. But I think it's great that we're having a discussion about 3 Cleveland rookie classes, and we're all kind of in agreement that they're all pretty good classes.
Yeah.
So we haven't always been able to do that.
Well, it was funny because as I was kind of looking into it, when Dillon asked the question, we went back in some other and you're like, all right, well, you definitely wouldn't say 2024 draft class.
No.
Definitely not saying 2023.
Yep.
Didn't have first round picks because of the Watson. And you're like, you know what? And I've been an Andrew Berry hater. This draft class still has to perform on the field before we can anoint them anything, but it obviously looks good on paper.
Yeah.
Last year's draft class, Judkins, Schlesinger, Fannin, Graham. That's 4 legitimate NFL players plus whatever you end up getting from Shedeur, from Dillon Sampson. And these Guardians, I mean, Bazzana, DeLauder, Messick look like 3 staples and building blocks for the future. We don't know what Watson, Ingle, Espino, Rafi Velasquez. They've had some other guys have a cup of tea, but didn't include them on.
That Dion guy,
Will
Dion. I saw him a couple years at
P.D.
spring
Halpin's
training. I was
technically
like,
in there
man, this
too.
guy's tiny, but I like him. And I asked around about him, and I think I can't remember who it was that told me, go look at his stats. This kid has won wherever he's been, even despite his small frame and he doesn't have great velocity. but he's a pitcher. He throws, he hits spots, he has different pitches, different shapes to pitches. I really liked him when I was watching him in bullpens 2 years ago, and it was good to see that he got called up. Some success, some not, but you expect that early on. But there are some other fringe guys that could also add to this. And like you said, if Velasquez comes up and has this kind of success that we think he can have,
that changes the conversation.
It absolutely does.
I'll give you another hot take. I don't think Cooper Ingle's future is in Cleveland.
Oh, really?
Don't you?
Well, I don't. Where?
Yeah, where are you playing him?
That's the biggest thing.
And I think this is a good opportunity to showcase him.
Maybe move him at the deadline
and move at the deadline. Here's a piece. He's a catcher. Those are always in demand.
Yeah,
he can hit. And
the problem is he's not hitting 140 though. If you want to be a Guardians catcher, you got to be in and around that 140 area for a long period. Hey, did you guys see the dust up between Josh Naylor and Austin Hedges yesterday?
That was awesome.
Yeah,
that was last night, wasn't it?
That was very telling to me. Because Austin Hedges is the mayor of any clubhouse that he's been in.
Yeah.
And he was flat telling him, nobody likes you. Nobody likes you. And
Josh Naylor unfollowed Austin Hedges on Instagram. After
now
the
it's junior high beef. That's like junior high girl.
You know what's weird? We got like 2 minutes, right?
We're talking more Guardians after with DeLauder, but
okay.
Go do this. We'll take a break.
The Josh thing that's so weird about it, when he came back from the ankle,
yeah,
he sat down at spring training with it was Mandy Bell and myself. We're out and we just sat there and talked to him for about an hour.
Wow.
He was, maybe that's a stretch.
I didn't know he had
30
that
minutes.
in him.
He was terrific. He was so personable. He laid out the entire process of everything that he went through and the rehab and everything.
That was pre-success, though.
He could not have been more accommodating. He could not have been better. And I talked to him in the clubhouse afterwards, and he was great about it again the second time later that day. He was amazing.
Do you think that because that was pre-success?
I don't know. And like, I'm not around them a ton. I'm not around them all the time. And then I came back around the next year, I think it was, and he was a totally different person.
Yeah.
And even some of the writers that were around him were like, yeah, he's tough. Like he doesn't do a ton of media. And he and I actually had a great conversation about hitting and about different techniques and swing techniques and everything. And it was about a 6 or 7 minute conversation. And some of the other writers were like, I can't believe, like, what were you guys talking about?
Well, you got him in his wheelhouse.
Where we were talking about, yes.
Yeah.
The
anything
swing mechanics.
Outside, what I had joked to Bo, I'm like, are you guys sure you're full brothers? And he chuckled and he goes, yeah, we're Venus, Mars, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because, Bo is like the most accommodating, walks in with a smile, leaves with a smile, and Josh just isn't that guy.
But that was Josh when he came back from the ankle. It's so strange. I don't know what happened. I don't know.
May have gotten burned by a media member. But you know what? It's even with his teammates. He was prickly. That's just the only way to, and that's why I laughed when you can clearly see what Hedges was saying to him. If you're not following all of it, he leaned into that pitch, by the way. Absolutely leaned into it. And he turned around immediately and said something to Hedgie, and then he got about halfway down first, and you can hear Hedges saying, you leaned into it. And then he said something, I won't say what he said, but Naylor said something to Hedgie that was a little colorful, and Hedgie then took off his face mask and basically said, nobody likes you. Literally nobody likes you.
Yeah.
And he's like, do something about it.
Yeah.
So it was interesting to me that former teammates are now going at it like that. Josh is just one of a kind.
Yeah.
And the reason I mentioned, like, the only success I had in talking with him was nuts and bolts.
Mm-hmm.
We had a conversation about the art of learning to hit left-handed pitching, which he clearly did. He probably could have talked for a half hour about that.
Yep.
And when I was talking to Bo said, he is all baseball all of the time. And there's really nothing wrong with that. That is kind of the guy that you want on your team.
Yeah.
But you also want them to play well with others. And I'm not sure that I think Austin's right. I don't think he was a beloved member of the Cleveland Guardians. I think they tolerated him at best.
It's strange, but heck of a player when he's going, Mo.
No, absolutely.
He's a good player.
He's got a lot of talent.